Um, you kind of addressed some of this, but I'll just say very specifically, do beavers block salmon? And the larger question is, by the way, sorry for that generalization, but so might beavers block salmon? And the larger picture, how can people and beavers get along?
Yeah, it's tough, right? I think we as people have learned really beautifully that we should be concerned about salmon. And I love that. I love that this is a question I get every time I talk to somebody in the Pacific Northwest is we've learned that dams are bad for salmon. And that is true of human-made dams. Think about a 100-foot tall concrete wall. There is no way a fish can get by that on their own, right? But imagine, again, that beavers and fish have lived on this landscape together a lot longer than many of us have. And beaver dams like this have been around for these fish to have to get past for generations. And so I think it's easy to think about a beaver dam. When you think of dam, you think of that concrete dam. But a beaver dam is imperfect. It is made of sticks and mud. Water tends to flow through it. When we get a rain event, water is going to flow over and around that dam and provide different places for fish to move. Provides those mechanisms of passage as water flows over and around these systems. And that is true of many dams. But in some places, I think where we get that intersection of humans, beavers, and fish, that's where we might see more problems, right? Imagine a small culvert, an undersized culvert that goes through a road. Now imagine a beaver builds a dam inside that. There's not a lot of opportunity for water to flow over and around or for fish to get through. Is that the beaver's fault or the people's fault? Hard to say, right? That's a little bit of an intersection where all those things are coming together. Beavers are doing what they've done for many, many years. Fish are trying to do what they've done for many, many years. And we as people have caused a little bit of a problem there. So certainly not all beaver dams are passable by fish, but I would say the majority of those are the ones that are interacting with funky human infrastructure that is already limiting fish passage. So a dam like this, I would expect, we've got only about a foot of dam there. I would expect when we get a rain event, water is going to be flowing over and many adult fish would be able to move upstream. Many juvenile fish would be able to move downstream. There may be times of year where it's harder to do that, but our fish are trained to come in the fall when we get those rain events. That's where they get triggered to move upstream, and that's when beaver dams are most passable to them. And I'll say too that, beaver wetlands are really well known as being beneficial for fish in many ways. I think especially for juvenile salmon, they need places to rest, they need places to find food, to escape from predators, and these wetlands created by beaver dams are the perfect place for that, especially juvenile coho who spend up to a year in our freshwater streams before they migrate out to the ocean. They need beaver ponds and wetlands, and so having these can be a really big benefit.